What's up, boys? Today I'm going to be teaching you how to manipulate a defender's behavior in sim racing so that you can set up a better move for yourself. A big thing that a lot of sim racers have a problem with when they're attacking is that they're very indecisive. When you make a move as the attacker, you have to make the move definitive. You can't just be like, oh, I kind of was here, kind of was there, because then that puts the onus on yourself rather than the defender. When you attack somebody, you want to be in control of that attack. When somebody much faster than you makes a move on you, what are they doing? They're sending it down the inside, and there's nothing that you can do about it because that move is so definitive. And there's no option, there's no leeway for you to do anything as a defender, aside from either go side by side them and take the less optimal line, or they just go right past you and you don't see them for the rest of the race. So here's one big thing that I can teach you to manipulate the behaviors of a defender when you're coming up on someone, or even thinking or prepping an overtake. Let me put on my little trusty glasses here. In this clip, this is a fight between me and Alex Patsk in my thermal racing league. This was at Austria. So at Austria, there's a lot of dive bombs, a lot of moves, a lot of overtaking corners. There are some unorthodox corners there. If you're faster than somebody, you know that's different, but this is about two people about equal pace. Alex is generally faster than me, but I think around Austria we were pretty much even, so our pace was maybe half a tenth off of each other. And these are the battles that a lot of, when you're switching between cars and defenders are going to attackers and attackers are going to defenders, a lot of, you have to be definitive in the moves that you make, otherwise it can lead to really severe crashes and DNFs at the end of the day. So as we come out of turn one here, you can see Alex is holding the inside, and on this one, the optimal line is technically the left side, because as you go up into turn 3, you want to be on the outside, on the left side, because it's a right-hander, so that you can have a better entrance and exit from left to right. I know that, and so does Alex, so he's holding the inside here. That tells me one of two things. One, he's gonna hold this inside so that I don't have a chance to dive bomb him, which I now know, because he's hugging this side so hard. And yeah, you can say he's like shoring up on because you don't really follow the entire track. He's taking the racing line through it, which is a straight line through these curbs, sorry. Because he's hugging the right side here so much, I know that the left side, which is the racing line, is open to me. This is where you have to take timing into account. You can see the distance between me and the car ahead is fairly big. It's enough for me to make a double move if I wanted to. If you do a move like this too close to the car in front, you're just gonna take him out. This is where repetition and driving the car a lot and knowing your car comes into play here. I know that I can make a weave here without hitting the car in front. If I make the first move, he is forced to react. And as the attacker, that is where you can dictate what line you want to go on. For example, if this is a straightforward move and I'm just going to the left side, he can see in his rear view mirror or any of his side mirrors that I'm going to be on the left side. You want to use his senses and his knowledge against him as well. We both know that we want to be on the outside going into this, because there's another long straight after turn 3, and the person behind is going to be able to dictate where the defender goes, because the defender has to defend a dive bomb here. So as I pull further to the left, he comes off of that inside line right there. You can see he's moving right here, he's moving away from the white line. And this has already happened in my head. I know he's gonna try and squeeze me to the outside. A lot of people are gonna do that. They're gonna try and squeeze you, try and give you as least room as possible. And if not that, they're gonna wanna take the best line for themselves. He's not gonna stay on the inside line the whole time. You get a terrible exit, a terrible entrance into the corner, and it's hard for you to break because that's the dirtier side of the track. And as you can see, I created a hole for myself. Because I was so definitive in my moves, because I was like, if you're not going to react this way, then I'm just going to take the offer that you're giving me. Now obviously, we're on the edge here, and his move was a little bit of a reaction to what I was doing, because I think he was caught out by me sending it down the inside and opening up more of a lane for me to have into the braking zone. and I'm on the grass. I get a car contact 0 times, but I don't get an off track because my wheels are only half off and not completely off. He gets a better exit than me coming out of turn 3, and now we have the rundown into turn 4. So because I sold the dummy so well, that move is called the dummy, by the way, where you fake going outside or going inside or vice versa. So I gave him the dummy going into turn 3, and now turn 4, he has that dummy in his head. He's like, is he gonna make a dummy again? Is he just gonna hold the line? And this is where the attacker has the advantage. The defender now has to choose. I have forced him to make a decision. Anything outside of that is reactionary, and if he does run into me or make contact with me, it is solely because he's the one that is on edge trying to hold this position. And this is the optimal position for an attacker. You have to be definitive in your move and know what the counterplay to your counterplay is. It's counters on counters on counters. The problem that a lot of people have is after they have made a move, they don't know what to do after that. There are several behaviors, and obviously, you know, I'm sure that chat, you guys have had plenty of instances where someone just completely obliterates you, mismeasures it, or whatever. That is not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about equal racing with somebody. You're going side by side, and then you make a mistake yourself because you overdid it or wasn't sure or you were indecisive. So you can see he's holding the inside line again here. Alex is holding the inside line going down to turn 4. He wants that. Now, I'm gonna try to sell him a dummy again, and he's not gonna fall for it. Boom, dummy on the left inside. He moves again. He stops moving. I have given myself enough time to react to his closing the door on the inside again. He thinks I'm gonna go to the outside, and he moved over to try and squeeze me to the outside line. But you can see here that he has made his move. If I made the first move, he made the second move, and now I am allowed to make the third move here. The attacker will always have the last say in every single fight. Boom. He moves across to cover that inside line, and now I'm going to the racing line. And this is all set up because of that move I made in the turn 3. Had I not done anything or like, you know, messed with like the lines or anything like that, he would have just held the inside and not given me an opportunity. But this is how you catch somebody off guard. This is how you put somebody off. Everybody races with a rhythm. I mean, you know, it's literally timed. Music is timed, and you can, everybody has a tempo that they kind of race at. And to make people uncomfortable, that's the position that you want them to be in. You know, I hold the move around the outside. I don't think it quite works out, but I am much closer to him than I was going into turn 3. And these little gains throughout a race, because this is what, a 15-minute race, 15-minute sprint, then the race after that we had a 45-minute sprint, and you know, there are 20-minute races, 30-minute races, and if you're trying to, you know, make somebody uncomfortable if they're just racing like a robot, because a lot of people, especially in the top split, they're not going to be diverging off of their lines a lot. There's going to be 2 through maybe 1 or 2 tenths off of their, you know, PB throughout the race, their best lap, fastest lap throughout the race, and you're not going to be able to just hold the outside line. You're going to have to make 1 or 2 moves going into the braking zone in order to make them uncomfortable, in order to make them, you know, put them off, so that you can break down their defense and make a move on them. So that's all this really is. To try and make a move on somebody else going into a braking zone. So this is footage from my latest YouTube video. This is the exact same scenario. This is on Zandvoort this time. Zandvoort really only has, maybe, you could argue that there's 2 really good overtaking zones, but really there's 1 definitive overtaking zone, and it's going down into turn 1. So we're on the pit straight here, main straight, whatever you want to say. There's no DRS in these cars, so this is purely off the toe, especially this is the open setup. So me and Robert Ridgway have very different setups. He's running a little bit more medium downforce, and mine is very high downforce. So I have to, this is the closest I was all race. You know, I was within 0.2 of a second, and I pull up to be about 1/10 of a second. But this is another example of me manipulating the car in front in order to get the position that I want to make a definitive overtaking chance available. So here you go, you can see I'm inching towards the left side, which is the racing line. I'm inching towards the racing line, and Robert wants to give me as least leeway as possible. The defender is allowed to squeeze you to the outside line. He can give you the least amount of room possible. What he can't do is squeeze you off the track. He cannot force you off of the track. As I'm inching to the left, I can anticipate that he's going to squeeze me to the outside. That is the smartest move as the defender, is to not only make the outside and make the attacking driver uncomfortable, but to give yourself a better line going into turn 1. So as you can see, I'm inching to the left side. I can see that his car is already starting to point to the left, which means that he's sort of inching to the left to squeeze me. And then I give him the dummy, and I absolutely try and send it down, or I make a definitive move down the inside. So when would the attacker be wrong in this scenario? The attacker would be wrong if I make contact with him. The attacker is allowed to do anything behind the car as long as I don't make contact with him, and as long as, you know, I leave his car alone. If the attacker touches the car in front, whether it's the wheel, whether it's his rear wing, whether it's his exhaust pipe, he will be in the wrong. Every move that you do behind the defender cannot be in contact with him. Now, obviously, weaving back and forward is like, you know, stupid. I don't know why you would do that, but if you're selling a dummy, if you're faking a move, pump faking a couple moves, then that's fine, as long as you don't fuck with the car in front. Now, when would the defender be wrong here? The defender is wrong if he makes a reactionary move and he shuts me down completely. I know iRacing's contact is kind of finicky, but contact in general can be determined even through netcode. I know there are some, I've had some incidents where it really was netcode and that was like, you know, things that are outside of my control, but most of the time when netcode happens, some things shouldn't have happened there either. Something went wrong before the netcode even happened. So you can see I sold him the dummy going to the left, and now I'm going to the right. Boom. Now, I don't pull the move off, but I got myself into a position where I would be advantageous, where I was comfortable with making the move down the inside rather than around the outside. But I cannot emphasize enough that these behaviors all have to be decisive. You can't just kind of willy-nilly fake and then go back, but then fake again and then fake again. That's not how this works. In racing especially, you get maybe 1 second to try and make your move. Dummy him, go to the inside. Dummy him, he cuts it off, then go back to the outside. These things are all happening in like 1 second, less than a second. You can't sit there, contemplate, and then try, and then it doesn't work. If you have to have counters to your counters, like I said earlier. So if you're gonna send it, whether it's on me, whether it's on the car in front of you, whether it's on anybody, you have to send it. And sending it is, oh, I'm scared, so I'm gonna try and do it. Sending it is, you go. You send it, and if you fuck up, you fuck up. If the car crashes into you, you went into that move knowing that that was a possibility. Now, whether you want to argue the attacker or the defender has the better advantage going into certain overtaking zones, I firmly am under the belief that attackers are always the one with the advantage going into any braking zone. The defender can only cut off so much of the track, especially into wide braking zones like turn 1 Zandvoort or turn 3 Austria, turn 4 Austria. The defender can only cover certain parts of the track, and he has to make it before the move is even made. The attacker can manipulate the defender's behavior by faking the outside going inside, just setting it down the outside and setting it down the inside, and being predictable doesn't make your overtaking any easier. You can't just send it down the inside every single time and hope for a different outcome. You gotta try the outside, inside, inside, outside, outside, inside, inside, outside, inside, outside, inside, outside. So you just gotta keep trying, you gotta keep the repetitions up, and I recommend if you wanna try any of this, try it in practice. Do not go into a race thinking, oh, I saw Yang tell me to do this, so I'm gonna do it. You know, I get a lot of people in practice who like to race, so I like to try these things against them. I'm sure you've seen on stream where I'm just racing against people in practice, trying new things. And if you have friends that you want to try new moves on, if you have friends that are really good and you want to see if you have the chance to overtake them, then by all means try it against them. But these are things that you learn over time, and you know, knowledge is key to everything in this world. But regardless, chat, I hope this quick little video helps you kind of know what to do as an attacker and what you can do and what your options are, and maybe make you a better driver at the end of the day. So if you enjoyed, make sure to like and subscribe. We'd really appreciate it. And if you have any questions, make sure to leave them into the comments below. If you want to see me live, I'm on Twitch, YouTube, and TikTok. And if you want to come chat with me, my Discord in the description. The Discord link is there. So if you want to join my Discord server, feel free. But boys, that's it for me. I'll see you guys when I see ya. Peace.